Welcome to another video. This will be regarding circular array. So how we can pattern and multiply an object within a radius. So within Keyshot this is quite easy. We just need to select the object, do a right click, and we're gonna have the make pattern option, which we can define a linear pattern. For example, I will multiply this chair 5 times on the x-axis that we're gonna see at the bottom. But we can also define a circular array, and we have some variables over here. The first one will be the count, so how many items will be patterned. The second one will be the radius, so the radius after which this pattern will be defined. One useful feature is also the fill angle. We can also either have this increase all the way from 25 in this case, since we have 12, all the way to 360. And another useful feature is the ability to have the objects rotated. So this is by default with 0 for rotate objects, but we can go, for example, to 90, and we're gonna see all the chairs will be positioned like this. In this case I will have to increase the radius so that the chairs won't be overlapped. Or we can go with -90, and in that case all the chairs will be rotated with the back towards each other, and in this case we can lower the radius. So this is really, let's say, useful within Keyshot, and we can rapidly deploy some circular patterns. We can also do some scattering, so in this case for example for the radial, and we're gonna see they will no longer all be within that array, but usually when we want to define an array we don't want to add that randomness. Okay, so let's take a look at Blender, how we can do the same within Blender. I'm going to import the same object, so I'll go to File, Import. I know that the model is an FBX file, and I will select it from the desktop. I will delete the default cube. We're gonna see that by default this chair was created in a CAD software, so it is not properly positioned over here. So I'm just gonna select it, and within the object properties I will zero out the location for all the axes, and we're gonna have the chair positioned like this. Now, within Blender, we can also define arrays, but the array tool is not that user-friendly as the one within Keyshot. So I will have the chair selected. I will go to Add Modifier, so on the Wrench tool over here. And afterwards, I will define an array. We're going to see that by default, the array will be a linear array, so we can define on which axis. We can also define that spacing between those, and we can go with either fixed count, fixed length, or fixed curve. So as you can see, we feed a duplicate object to a curve using this fit curve. But now if you also want to have this arranged as a circular array, we're going to need to add another modifier. So that extra modifier will be the curve deform modifier. As you can see, this will bend the mesh using a curve object. We need to have a curve object selected and defined within the viewport. So I'm gonna press Shift and A, and I will define a curve and a circle. I will scale this a little bit more, and afterwards, with the chairs selected, on the curve option I will pick the axis, and we're gonna see how those chairs will be aligned according to that curve. The possibility to add multiple counts. I also have the possibility to scale down in real time the circle, but in this case a little bit harder to exactly align this so that they will all let's see, be a perfect fit. As you can see now, the distance between those is quite good. So this is, let's say, a workaround regarding this. But as you can see, we need to define some elements, we need to add some modifiers. Also, if I'm gonna select the objects, you're gonna see that all the elements will be added within the same mesh over here, and we're gonna have those two modifiers. If we want to further change the position of a chair within the pattern, we need to apply those. So first the array, I will apply that. Afterwards the curve, I will apply that. And now those will no longer be editable and influenced by this radius, since all of those has been applied. But now I can go and select all the chairs, press tab. I will select A to select everything, they are already all selected. Press P for separate, and we're gonna separate them by loose parts. And after we're gonna do this, I'm gonna press tab again to go back to object mode, and now we're gonna see that we can individually manipulate all those chairs. So this is a workaround for a circular array within Blender, but I also did some testing with some scripting. So let me just import that chair again, and we're gonna see how we can define a script that will do a circular array. In this case, I'm just gonna move this chair again over here. Afterwards, maybe have it repositioned on the y-axis. So for the scripting section, I'm gonna open chatbot, so ChatGPT in this case, and as you can see, I asked for a script that will do a circular array for the selected object in Blender. And this is a script that I received, so the Python script. As you can see, we're gonna have a variable for the number of copies set to 8. So I'm just gonna copy this code. I'm gonna go back to Blender. I will go to scripting. I will create a new script. And with the chair selected, I'm gonna run this script. And as you can see, we're gonna have that circular array defined, but we won't have it defined around the radius. So the circular pattern will be directly generated over here. We can change the value within the script, so I can only add number of copies, for example 4. If I will run that script again, we're gonna see that now we're gonna have 4 chairs patterned radially regarding that reference, or that point reference from the chair. The same workflow, if I want to separate them, I need to press tab. Afterwards press P. We can go by loose parts, but in this case, since those were like that, we can move them. Even though they were intersecting, we can move those individual elements. We can constrain them on various axes. So this is not exactly what we want. Therefore, I asked to add a variable to increase the radius of the circular array. As we can see, we have the new variable array radius over here, which is set over here to the value of 2. So I'm going to copy this code, go back to Blender within scripting, have that replaced, and we have the array radius over here. As we can see, this will calculate the position using polar coordinates. Now with the object selected, I can redo that. We're gonna see that the array will work, but the orientation of the chair will be like this. So I would like to have those aligned regarding the circular value in this case. Therefore, I will have that undo. We're gonna change the code. As we can see over here, I ask it to make the object align according to the circular array. As we can see, we're gonna have some new elements within the code. So we have this rotation angle. I'm gonna copy the code, and you're gonna see that the modify script we'll have the rotation angle variable, which is calculated to align each copy with the array. So let's take a look at that change within the script. So the object is selected. I'm gonna run the script. We're gonna see that the same layout of the model will be. So regarding their individual rotation, there is no change. I'm gonna undo this, and we're gonna see the last change within the script. So the objects are still not properly aligned, and we're gonna see the change will be mainly over here. So we see the calculate the rotation for the copy based on its position. This is the change. So this is divided by 2, while within the original version so the rotation angle was divided by number of copies, and we had the angle with plus over there, while we're gonna have it with minus. So let's take a look at the final code for this. I'm gonna go to scripting, replace that script, and I'm gonna run the script. Now we're gonna see that those chairs will be aligned just like within Keyshot when we set that value to 90. So we can also increase this, for example, to 3, add 24 copies, have that selected, run that script, and we're gonna see how those will multiply. And now, if you want to separate them, we can always press tab. We can select everything, we can have those separated. This will take a little bit since there are 24 elements, but afterwards we're gonna have those pattern defined. And now we can easily run the script again on multiple elements, but keep in mind that if you're gonna work with a lot of models, Blender may encounter some problems. So I'm gonna go over here for statistics, select everything, and apply the script on the whole array. But I'm gonna increase the radius now to 10 and have it process again. And we're gonna see we also have the light selected over there. So this mainly work for the light for some reason. So let me just delete all those lights. So everything that is a light in the scene I'm gonna delete. I'm gonna select those elements and have the script run for this. So currently the selection should be all those chairs, and we should have those multiplied. But as we can see, Blender is currently not responding since we asked for 24 copies of existing 24 elements. This will take quite a lot to process, especially since they are also splitted as individual elements. We're gonna see how Blender will be able to process that. Afterwards, I'm gonna restart Keyshot, and we're gonna reapply the same circular array to a group that has already been patterned to see how that will work. When I tested this with fewer elements, like 8, it went better, but now number of copies 24, and now there will be 24 groups, each with 24. I see that Blender is struggling a little bit. So, let's see. Okay, and Blender managed to do that, and if I'm gonna go back to the layout, we're gonna see that the scene will be filled with chairs. It's still not fully responsive. And we see the high amount of chairs that we have over here. It's a little bit laggy, and we do receive a lot of not responding. Also, if the chair would have been a model created directly within Blender and not imported from a CAD software, I'm sure that this would work better. As you can see, in this case we have 80 million triangles within the scene, and we see a high amount of edges. So let me just close Blender, and I'm gonna redo the same within Keyshot. Looks like we're gonna go for an end task, or will Blender allow us to have it closed? Okay, so close window, don't save. And we're gonna do the same array now within Keyshot. I really hope that OBS doesn't lag while recording this. Okay, we see that Blender finally closed. I'm gonna start Keyshot, and let's see how Keyshot will handle the same chair within the same array. So we know that the model was this chair. I'm also gonna add a color for this. I'm gonna add a ground plane to have some better shadows on the bottom. Now with the chair selected, I'm gonna right click, make a pattern, copy this 24 times, and we're gonna increase the radius, something like 200. The rotation will be set to -90. Now I want to group all these elements, so all the chairs plus the first one. I'm gonna right click, I'm gonna make a group. I'm gonna call the group 24 chairs. Okay. Now with this selected, we're gonna make a new pattern, a new circular array where we're gonna have 24 counts and the number of radius in this case. So as we can see, Keyshot handled this a lot better than Blender. So I'm really curious why exactly Blender wasn't able to do that. We also see that the scene information currently has the total number of triangles only set to 600. So I think that the main reason why Keyshot handles this a lot better than Blender is that when I import the model, this will be optimized. As we can see, it won't have so many triangles. While within Blender, we rapidly achieve a high amount of edges. Let me just import that chair again and see exactly how this will import. So it's an FBX chair. I'm gonna have that deleted, and with the chair selected, if I will go and check the statistics, you're gonna see that this will be the value for the chair. So the total number of triangles, 28,000. But Keyshot handles this really well, so for the array. Let me just add the chair again over here. And as you can see over here, the total number of triangles will be the same. So maybe something within that script multiply the model multiple times, because over here we didn't had so many elements. Okay, so I hope that you find this video useful. I still prefer to use Keyshot over Blender, but keep in mind that Keyshot is a paid software, while Blender is free and open source. So I will position a similar video over here to the left and a subscribe button to the right. So thanks for watching.